Hello everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Kerbal Space Program .25. So here we are in the middle of our burn. I've kind of had it running at ×4 for the past 2 minutes or so, and it's still getting there. We're only down to 8 minutes left now, and we still have about 8,000 meters per second left in the tank, which is fine. As long as we keep about, I'm going to say 2,500, maybe 2,000 meters per second left for the main ship, I'll feel okay about all this. Because that's about all we need. We already have about 1,500, I think, in the original craft. So all we gotta do is dump maybe another 1,500 to 2,000 in there, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So don't you worry, guys. Not that I'm saying you guys were worrying, but maybe I'm just projecting my own worries upon you. I'm not sure, but again, I think we're gonna be alright. And you can really tell at ×4 how fast we're moving in here. But it's starting to get down now. We only have about another 1,200 to kill off. So I think, again, we're going to be okay. And this was a hell of a burn, just like the first one was. Where I basically had to just sit there. You're already at ×4, so there's really nothing else you could do. And it still just takes a long time. I've got to say, out of all the places to visit in this solar system, this might be my least favorite one, just because it's just so fuel costly. It just costs so much fuel to get here. But we're finally approaching the maneuver node, and the orbit is finally starting to bend. So that's good. Those are all good signs. And there's our ship right over there, actually. It's somewhere on this side. Can't quite see it because it's quite far away, but it's around there somewhere. Down to about a minute left. There's the orbit swinging around now. About 20 seconds left. Just keep her going. Let's see, we'll pull this thing in to about there. So it's not exactly the same because we started burning so early, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this as the target right now, because it's always better to change inclination when you're further away from the orbital mass. That's what I've found. It just makes things a little easier. Here's the ascending node. So we're just going to fix our inclination. As you can see, that's only a 64 meter per second burn. That would have been a little worse if we had done it over here, if this was super tight. The orbit was super tight in, but it's not, so we're going to be alright. So we'll just go ahead and get this thing lined up. The guys are in there cheering, woohoo, finally! Took you so damn long. But rest assured, Bill and Thomden, we'll get you guys home. So there they are up there. They're excited that the refueler has finally arrived. They've been waiting a long time, probably several years by now, possibly longer than the Jewel trip was, which is quite unfortunate, for them at least. Alright, we're going to get this thing down to about 6 seconds, because it's only going to take 12 seconds. Shortest burn we've had to make all mission, literally. This is it. Which is pretty nice. Alright. So that basically sets us up. Maybe a little further. Yes, we are zeroed. Zeroed out. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to have to pull this in pretty tightly to a roughly circular orbit. Something close to it. Actually, let's see. Yeah, we'll circularize it first, and then we'll go from there. Might make things a little bit easier when trying to hit this thing. Rendezvous is going to be a little tricky. But no less, we've already lined up the phase. That's not too bad. So we'll just swing around. Here we go. It's going to be 113 meters per second. We'll burn at about 12 seconds. Always good to cut these things in half. My understanding is that it gets half the burn done on this side, half the burn done on that side, and it should all even out in the end. I think that's what the logic is there, which makes sense. So here we are slowing down once again, pulling our orbit in even tighter than it was, just to get a circular orbit, and that'll help us to rendezvous. These guys are in a relatively circular orbit as well. Thankfully, let's see, they're in 63 by 62. That's perfect. That's a perfect circle, basically. Alright, so we are behind it, so that means we must pull inwards. In other words, slow down a bit. Intersect 1, target intersect position. So we are behind it still. Let's see. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. It's kind of rough when you're like next to it. You kind of have to, let's see. What can we do here? We have to catch up on it. So we have to get this thing in here. Intersect 1. Yeah. You know what we're gonna do, actually? Let's see. Since we have to catch up, yeah, we're gonna pull inwards a bit like this, and that should help us speed up on it. It might not be in this pass, but soon it'll do it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna basically collapse this orbit in a little further, just so we could speed up. Actually, what we might do, let me think about this again. Yeah, let's go inside of the orbit. I think that's what we'll do. But not too much. That'll help us to speed up a little bit. So this, you can kind of see what's happening here. We're definitely a little behind it. We'll have to wait a couple turns until basically this gets a little closer. This intersect now is 317. Although it is speeding up on us, so I think what we have to do is, well, we'll just kind of let it catch up, I think. In the idea of saving fuel, we'll just kind of naturally let these things get closer, I think. Let's see. Or what we could do is, let's pull this in, just so we're not coming way far out like that. Sometimes it's tough to see these things, but yeah, we'll pull this thing in so that essentially, yeah, that'll help a little bit. So that we're always kind of speeding up. Something like that. Okay. So this is going to take a bit. We'll have to wait a few orbits until these things meet up with each other. So this is a little different than our standard rendezvous because we couldn't really pick and choose when to leave. We had to just kind of schlump in here whenever we could, and that's why it's a little bit longer. But I'm just going to cut and just basically warp around until these two toggles are, see, they just jumped forward a little bit. So eventually we're going to meet up because we're constantly going faster than it, so eventually we're going to catch it. So we'll just wait until that happens. Alright, so I've basically had to circle around maybe about 4 or 5 times, and on this pass they should be lining up. Alright, so it's going to be now, we've caught up to it. It's going to be a little behind us now, but we'll stop it before it gets there. Basically what we're going to do is wait till we're just about parallel with each other and just zip across to it, which should be occurring somewhere over here, I'm venturing a guess. You know, I had a lot of time to reflect. I probably should have done this a little differently. I probably could have waited until it caught up with me, but I was stubborn and I wanted to chase it. I could have probably left this on the outside and it would have caught up to us probably quicker, but like I said, it didn't really think it through too well, and but that's okay. It's not like we wasted, you know, that much fuel. Maybe just a little bit of fuel. So we'll just push across, and hopefully these things will line up. 7 kilometers. Let's see, is that getting worse? 6.8. 5.8. Yeah, we'll just burn across like this. Basically 4.8. We'll do something like that fairly soon. And what that's going to do is just push us. There it is right over there. So we'll just kind of shove ourselves in that direction. Kind of ahead of it, basically, to catch up to it. There we are. See, so we're gonna get nice and close. Oops, alright, we don't want to go too far. And then once you get to that distance, what was it? 4.7, then we could do our retro target burn. So you can see we're swooping in that direction. Ooh. So now we've basically overcome it. In fact, I might do that retro target burn right now. Basically just stop it from getting any further away, because we are basically parallel with each other. And I don't want it to get any, you know, much further than that. I'll deal with 7.1, that's not too bad. So at the same time, I'm kind of nudging the spacecraft towards it by pushing the retrograde up there to the anti-target reticle. There we are. So that means we're now traveling directly at it. Pretty much. We'll just kind of zero it out just because that makes me feel better when we do it that way. There we are. So we've zeroed it out. We'll head right at it, which I probably could have just left, but that's okay. And we'll just try to get this thing basically as close as we can down to 0. There it goes. And, oh, alright. So we'll take that. Usually pushing ourselves right at it. You can see it's drifting a little bit, but that's okay. It's bound to happen. Things are bound to drift in space. So we'll wait till it's basically right across us. Alright. Turn this thing around. We still got lots of fuel left. It doesn't look like much, but it is. Alright, we'll just kind of push this thing. Stop ourselves, and we'll kind of push it towards the target at the same time. This is like your standard rendezvous now. Alright. So we're heading directly at it. Let's just get it a little bit faster. Not too much though. We don't want to overdo it. Just so we basically meet up. Yeah, that's fine. 100 meters is just fine with me. Heading towards that at a nice 3.3 meters per second. And we'll just make sure that this retrograde stays right on top of that pink. So we'll just do a little time warp. Luckily we are in the day side, that's pretty nice. Alright, we can actually start to see it now. This is exciting. Okay, we're getting right there. Just a little further, and this is good. We're a little above it. That worked out. Just gonna wait till we're pretty much right on top of it until we slow down. Alright, there we go. I think we can hit it now. Alright. Perfect. So we will set this thing as the target. Actually, let's do this. Let's point it. We'll get this thing lined up. So we want to point this thing south, basically. Sorry if this is a little disorienting. So we'll point this thing south. And we'll open up the shield. There we go. I'll switch to this. Hey guys, welcome back. The refueler is here. There it is up there. Alright. So we want to set, basically set the clampetron as the target. Good. So now it's just a standard rendezvous basically. We're just going to push the K key just to move us up in that general direction. There we go. I might just press H also, just to move us closer, more forward. How much sunlight do we have left? A decent amount. It's basically noon right now. Getting it nice and close. So we're going to hit the I key just to stop us from drifting. And we're going to hit the N key basically to stop us from moving forward. Still need more I, and that should do it. A little more N. Alright, now this thing's a little wobbly because the center of mass is a little off because we used a lot of the fuel, but it'll be alright. So we'll push the J and we'll just move towards it this way. That's why we're wobbling so much, because the center of mass is all out of whack because we used up a good deal of the fuel, unfortunately. Let's just go ahead and transfer some of it back into here. Alright. There we go. So we'll get ready to push the L. In fact, we'll start doing that now. We'll just cancel that sideways drifting. Basically, once that circle goes right over the 180 line, we're good to go. There. So we gotta go up a little bit. We'll press K. Oh, that's a crazy view. Moho circling underneath us. It's freaky. So we'll just press H a little bit. Make sure that all three of these toggles are basically lined up. A little bit more. A little more I. That's gonna do it. Nice. Very, very nice. We did it. Oh man, they're freaking out still for some reason. They should be like cheering and jumping for joy right now. But alright, we've come so many millions of miles. We've made it. I hope we have enough fuel to give these guys, otherwise that would be very awkward, wouldn't it? Let's see, we'll dump some of it into here, or a good deal of it. Oh, we're drifting. We'll press the SAS. Didn't get as much fuel as I really wanted to, but I think it's still gonna be alright. And we'll dump the rest of it into here. You too, Oxidizer. Alright, there we go. So we've essentially drained the ship. We've left it A useless husk. Okay, so I think what we'll do then is we will decouple these guys. Undock. We'll just kind of leave that thing, just RCS away from it. Basically say, thank you. Come again. Alright. And then what do we got left? We got about just under 6,000 meters per second. I think that's going to be plenty to get us home, to be honest with you, because it didn't require much more than 2,000 if I remember correctly. So I think we're going to be all right. I feel good that we filled up this completely. This is about 25%, and we do have these things completely full. So I think we're going to be okay. I mean, I have a good feeling about it. So we'll tab back to this thing, and well, you've been very, very kind and useful, but unfortunately you must now forever remain in this orbit around Moho. You'll probably melt someday from the extreme heat. But you were very good to us, and we thank you, and we salute you, and all that good mumbo-jumbo. And I think we'll end the episode there. So in the next episode, look forward to us making our phase angle and getting the burn back home to Kerbin again. So don't worry. Oh, you know what I forgot to do too? We completed the contract. We didn't even look at it. We landed on Moho. We got the science from the surface. Good, good. And we completed it. 400,000. So let's see. How much money do we have now? Huh. It says we have $0, but that can't possibly be right. But anyway, so we'll leave the episode there. Again, next episode, we will get these guys home again. So look forward to that in the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys.